But we're going to start this week away from the PDC, and I put out on Twitter, football's coming home on July the 11th. Well, on January 1st, 2022, darts is coming home. The WDF announcing on Sunday that their first World Championship will be held at the Lakeside, the 1st to the 9th of January 2022. What were your thoughts when you saw the news?
It's the best possible result. The WDF, originally we were going to hopefully have seen it back in this past January, but for obvious reasons that wasn't able to come to be. Thankfully, it looks like the WDF will have their World Championship next year, and it's where it needs to be. It should be at the Lakeside. The WDF is the spiritual successor to the BDO. The other organizations are going to do their best to stick their part to be the head of amateur darts, but at least spiritually, the WDF is the successor apparent. And if they want to be that successor apparent, they need to get in the Lakeside, and they need to do it right. And so far at least, they are doing it right. They got the Lakeside figured out. They got a television network figured out. They got some sponsors lined up. And they did all of this prior to making the announcement so that they wouldn't embarrass themselves like the BDO did when they announced on this show that the prize fund, for example, was going to be doubled for the women's. That didn't come to be. When they said that they had all the sponsors lined up for the World Championship, that didn't come to be. At the very least, they're doing this right, and they're putting it where it needs to be. There's still a lot of questions, and some of those we'll get to later, so I don't want to go through all of the things that still need to be sorted over the coming months. And that will really answer whether this will succeed, whether this even can succeed, let alone whether it in fact will. But so far, so good. And this is the perfect first step to having the WDF not just be the spiritual successor to BDO, but as the head of amateur darts, but to in fact realize that.
And I'll start with what my nan said when I told her the news at the weekend that darts was coming back to Lakeside. Her response was, everyone associates darts with the Lakeside, don't they? And there is that generation, lots of generations that do associate darts with the Lakeside. I guess moving forward now, we've got the Ali Pali, which is well established with the PDC World Championship. So you've got more newer generations associating darts with Ali Pali. But for a lot of darts fans, they still think of Lakeside when they think of darts. And it's great news for the WDF that they can get the Lakeside. And I know there's a few people that are saying maybe we should move on from the Lakeside. They should maybe look at other venues. But I think certainly for this first one, at least, having that familiarity, this is going to be a big week for the WDF when it comes round, putting on their first World Championship. They want to come back with a bang. And are we going to see the WDF host their World Championship at Lakeside for 34 years like the BDO? I don't think they will. I think over time, I think we'll see them maybe move around. We've seen the World Masters, their first World Masters, which is coming up in December. They're taking it away from England for the first time. It's going to be in the Netherlands, and I think that's probably what we're going to see with this World Championship. I'm not going to say it's going to be a one-year thing at the Lakeside, but I think maybe 5-10 years down the line we might see them maybe explore other options. It depends really where they are, I guess, commercially and popularity wise. If they're able to sell out bigger venues, that might be a route that they go down. But we had the first WDF ranking event for 15 months that took place this past weekend in New Zealand, the early hours here in the UK on Sunday. And then the news coming out that Lakeside is going to be the venue. And it is good to see that the WDF starting to progress things. It's been a long time waiting for them with no events to put on. And as we touched on before, it's hard to get anything going, build that momentum during a pandemic when you've not got any events on. But as we are seeing things start to open up a little bit around the world in certain countries, and we've got 50 plus events coming up from the WDF for the second half of this year, for the first year to get it back, and as well the TV coverage as well, to get it on Eurosport, which is where the BDO World Championship was put on for the last couple of years. It was held, I think, is a good stepping stone as well. So yeah, for me it's a thumbs up for them, and I think there'll be a lot of darts fans that will be keeping their eye out to see when the tickets go on sale, that they can get back to the home of World Darts to watch the darts.